Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and it looks like once again, what is it with these big celebrations, right? And all the crazy stuff that we saw get leaked in the 10th anniversary. Once again, Dokkan has made a bit of an oopsie with the data download for the Global Dokkan campaign. It has already been fixed, so if you go into your game and check, you can see that this has already been updated. But somebody found out, I don't know how these things come about, right? I imagine it's just somebody, for whatever reason, went to their profile and decided they were going to change the OST for their profile that you can set with the burst mode rewards, and then they noticed this very interesting image. And that is, if you scroll down and you look between the Tech Vegito Blue event and the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks event, you can see the Omega Shenron Dokkan event, which of course the current most up-to-date image is of the physical Omega Shenron Dokkan Fest that came out quite a few years ago. However, after the data download, this was the image that was shown for that event in the music selection area, and as you can see, this is quite clearly a very new art for an Omega Shenron and very clearly has the LR shading. So essentially, with this being leaked and then immediately fixed, this has basically confirmed that the Part 2 LR for the Global Dokkan campaign is going to be, or at least one of the Part 2 LRs, is going to be Omega Shenron, and that he is going to be the Dokkan Fest exclusive, because obviously his Dokkan event is being updated with a new stage, which is why it's getting a new art for the banner. Which makes sense, considering that Rose and Zamasu are the Extreme Unit in Part 1, and they are the Carnival LR, and Goku and Vegeta are the Superclass, and they are the Dokkan Fest. So that means that the Dokkan Fest exclusive for Part 2 of the GDC is going to be an Omega Shenron of some variety, and then the Carnival LR is going to be a Superclass GT character. I wonder who that potentially could be, given the format of the characters we have so far, but obviously we are going to go ahead and talk about that. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, double check you are still subscribed. I know people have been telling me YouTube has been unsubscribing them from the channel, so do give that a quick check. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about this. So obviously Omega Shenron, the last premium unit that we got for him was the Carnival LR. This is the event I was talking about, right? This is the image that should show. This was the STR one when the event first came out. This is the physical one. If you go check in your shop now for the burst points OSTs, this is the image that shows, the physical one. But this is the image that showed after the data download, right? So the last premium Omega Shenron was the AGL Carnival LR, who was kind of a fumble. I mean, the card himself wasn't that bad, but he was leading GT bosses for 200%, and GT bosses is a terrible team. It still is a terrible team. It's never gotten all of the buffs that it really needs. So it'd be interesting to see this guy getting a bit of a resurgence as a new Dokkan Fest exclusive. Now, the one big thing that we could see, that we've been waiting for a long time, is there is of course the possibility that he starts out as Sin Shenron and then transforms into Omega Shenron. Now, at first I wasn't sure, because obviously the Dokkan event for Omega Shenron is being updated, and usually the Dokkan event is for the name of the character, right? Like Sin Shenron doesn't have his own Dokkan event. It's only the Omega Shenron, because we don't have a Dokkan Fest exclusive Sin. However, they did do things like adding the stage to the Super Saiyan Blue AGL Vegeta that transforms into Blue Evolution. He's just a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. They added the stage to his event for the actual Blue Evolution Vegeta, and they've done it in the past for Buhans and Cells and stuff, I think, as well. So there is still the possibility, even though the Dokkan event is technically under the Omega Shenron header, because it will transform into Omega Shenron, this unit could still be coming as a Sin that transforms, which I think is probably quite likely, considering both Part 1 units are reversible exchange. So it'd be interesting for one of the Part 2 units to not have any kind of transformation or exchange or anything, right? So I think we could finally see the Sin Shenron that transforms into Omega, which is pretty good. Gives him a couple of extra categories as well, like transformation boost. I mean, if you look at standalone Sin, it just has Shadow Dragon Saga, Inhuman Deeds, and GT bosses. But then when we look at the actual Omega Shenron, we've got full power, transformation boost, Inhuman Deeds, power absorption, powerful comeback, Battle of Fate. So A lot of interesting categories. Being the Dokkan Fest exclusive is really interesting as well, because, I mean, whilst he could end up being a new GT Boss's lead, which wouldn't exactly be that great, things like full power, transformation boost, inhuman deeds, power absorption, these are all very solid options for his 170 lead, for having a very strong Dokkan Fest exclusive leader skill. So Dokkan Fest exclusive Omega Shenron for part 2. I feel like we're very, very likely then to see this guy's Super Easy A, considering we got the Rose and Vegito Blue Super Easy A's for part 1, and they came out, I think maybe just before this guy actually, because it was during the 70% lead meta when these units were coming out for the first time, that the original AGL Rose and Physical Vegito Blue release was. And we've already had a couple of the 70% lead Super Easy A's, the Buhan, Super Vegito, and Gotenks. So we've only got this guy and the Physical Broly from that 70% lead meta that haven't Super Easy A'd yet. So if part 2 is going to be a Dokkan Fest Omega, seems pretty likely that this guy's going to get a Super Easy A, right? And if Omega is a good slot 1 unit, this guy is going to be geared a bit more towards support. He lowers the enemy's attack, which is really useful. So he's going to end up being a floating slot 3 support unit on that team, and it won't matter that their names clash. Or, of course, if he is a Sin that transforms to Omega, it won't matter anyway, because as Sin they'll link, and then once he transforms they'll link, because that's how that works for transformation units. So this guy almost certainly going to get a Super Easy A in part 2. I would put money on it. Obviously we can never say anything 100% with Dokkan, but seems very, very likely this guy will Super Easy A in part 2. And then of course when it comes to GT bosses, the LR Tech Super 17 is one of the oldest units in the game, one of the oldest LRs I think currently. It's him and like the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the oldest LRs that don't have an Easy A. So I could definitely imagine him getting an Easy A. I think the only categories he shares with the Omega though, because he's not on Transformation Boost, I don't think he's on Inhuman Deeds. Let's open his thing up here, because he's not going to be on the team unless one of the leader skills is GT bosses. And the thing that I'm a little bit scared about for the leader skill format for Omega is if it mirrors part 1, remember the Goku and Vegeta only have 2 170s and then plus 50% for 2 categories as well. Oh, he's on Power Absorption. Oh yeah, of course, I forget. And he's actually on Battle of Fate. So Power Absorption or Battle of Fate as one of the 2 170s. He is also actually on Inhuman Deeds. Okay, so there is a lot of crossover in fact between categories for this guy. So as long as Omega has Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption or Battle of Fate as one of his 170 leads, then this guy will be on... Where'd he go? This guy will be on the team, so he's potentially going to get an Easy A as well. The problem is GT bosses then after that still kind of sucks. AGL Omega on a new 220 lead, like maybe could still be okay because it was really the team that let him down and not him as a unit. But look at how like outdated everybody else is, all these other units. Maybe the AGL Super 17 Super Easy A could be interesting. He'd be the first of the 120 leads to get one, so I think maybe it's a bit early for him. We do have this Int Great 8 Baby, but he has a nuking style leader skill, so even if he gets a Super Easy A, he's going to be banned from a bunch of the events. So yeah, GT bosses needs a lot of help. Now one thing that they could do, I'll probably expand on more of this stuff in other videos as we get closer to part 2, but one thing that they could do is we got the event in part 1 for the free-to-play Rose Clones army. Imagine if they do something similar again for part 2, because one of the things that people have wanted to see for a while, they could do the full free-to-play Shadow Dragons team and do all of these older Shadow Dragons, like all the sort of insignificant ones, could all get free-to-play versions. Although I guess, I don't know if there's enough. I suppose Ice and Nova separately, and then I guess it'd have to be a free Sin as well. I suppose it only needs to be 5, right? So I guess, yeah, they could do these 4 and then Ice and Nova together. I know it'd be another Ice and Nova unit. But then, yeah, they could do them as like a free-to-play Shadow Dragon team, which would then go well with the new lead. But of course, remember, as long as, even if GT bosses is one of his 170s, as long as the other one is something good, like if it's like Power Absorption, there's a bunch of other characters that could then be on the team that are not GT bosses, so that's not the hugest end of the world thing. But ideally we don't want him to have GT bosses as a leader skill, but I guess we'll see. And that of course raises the question of who will be the Carnival LR for part 2. Now it seems like with the format of part 1 being double reversible exchange, the easy go-to answer is a reversible exchange Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. And following on with the similar format to the first one, which people were mad about, I don't know if they still are after we've seen the animations, I'm sure some people are, probably will have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as an active skill attack only, just like Vegito Blue and Fusion Zamasu for the Part 1 characters. But again, I don't really care about that. We've got this unit that has their EZA and is still very meta relevant that actually fuse into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So the fact that these guys will be relevant on the team with the new unit, I think makes it really not matter if the new unit doesn't fuse. Plus, they can get some interesting stuff, like, because remember, Vegeta is the one that suggests fusing to Goku, because he even says, like, in the episode and in the active skill for these guys, like, Goku didn't expect him to suggest fusion. So the fusion could be Vegeta's active skill, and then Goku's one could be an updated animation version of the crazy Dragon Fist that he does to Omega, right? Which is essentially the tech full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku's animation. We definitely need an updated version of that. So that would be really, really cool for being the Carnival LR. And then, of course, their 220 lead. We won't see Giant 8 power because, of course, that was the Goku from the anniversary. Goku Black and Zamasu have super bosses, so maybe these guys would have GT heroes, although that would be, obviously, I think, quite unfortunate. I don't think that would be a good one. Could you imagine they just straight up gave them power beyond Super Saiyan 220? Dude, that would be so good. They could have fused fighters, potentially. Bond of Parent and Child would also be kind of crazy. It'd be weird for this unit in particular to get it, but we do need a new Bond of Parent and Child leader. But there's a couple of different options here. Let me know what you guys think for the 220 lead. I'll make a video going over this kind of stuff in more detail, but usually I do that stuff a bit closer to part 2 because we don't normally end up getting this stuff leaked so early, so that we know that part 2 is pretty much going to be GT, right? Because it's very unlikely, if the Dokkan Fest is Omega, that the Carnival LR is going to be some random other thing. Like, I'm sure some people will still cope that because it's Super Saiyan 4 related, it could be Daima Goku, but I think at this point we can kind of say Daima is off the table completely now for GDC, but I guess we'll see. And then, of course, if we get a tag Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, then this guy is one of the oldest TURs that doesn't have an EZA. So in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, EZA probably very likely. So, like, this guy getting an EZA and this guy getting a Super EZA, definitely going to be very, very good for that celebration. And then GT Heroes, I did have a quick look. I know the Tech Full Power Goku that we've already mentioned, he's a bit too, like, he's way too new to get a Super EZA. We haven't even got into the 120 leads, like I said, let alone category leaders. But we've got characters, really old characters, like Physical Pan, STR Trunks. These guys are from the 2nd anniversary and they still haven't EZA'd. As well as this STR Super Saiyan 3 Golden Great Ape Goku. But of course, just like the baby, he's going to be banned in like most events. So even if he gets a good EZA, it's probably not even going to be that helpful. Tech Pan is a GT Heroes Dokkan Fest, could potentially get an EZA. I think Gogeta would obviously be a shoo-in. And yeah, there's characters like the Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku. There's 2 Super Saiyan 3 GT Vegetas, although actually they're not on GT Heroes because, of course, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta is not canon to GT, but I imagine they still would EZA them and this guy if they were going to EZA those units. So there's a lot of potential EZAs and Super EZAs for GT. Obviously, this Goku from the anniversary, we back on like meta teams. He's still very good even now when you can fit him onto teams. So lots of very interesting possibilities for a GT related part 2. I've already seen some of the people who are disappointed in Future as a choice saying that now that they've seen part 2, they're just going to skip part 1. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Dokkan Fest exclusive, Omega Shenron coming for part 2, pretty much confirmed. And so then, let's be honest, the Carnival LR, I would be very surprised if the Carnival LR isn't a Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. But I guess we could see. It could be a standalone full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but I think we'll follow, considering both the Part 1 units are reverse exchange. I think it'll be Super Saiyan 4 Goku plus Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and hopefully the Omega will be Sin that transforms into Omega. But we'll have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts. I know GT's not like it's a divisive thing in the community. Some people love it, some people hate it. Let me know your thoughts on GT stuff basically being confirmed for Part 2 of the Global Dokkan campaign down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.